Hey everyone, and welcome back to another storytime video. Today we're going to be looking at the subreddit r/I don't work here lady. I've seen a lot of funny stories from this subreddit, so make sure you stick around to the end, but for now, sit back, relax and enjoy the funny stories. Girl Scouts work at Safeway now. So this happened last year during cookie season. Basically when the Girl Scouts sit at stores and ask you, would you like to buy a box of Girl Scout cookies? The last year I was a Girl Scout allowed to sell. My mum and I were set up by one of the doors in Safeway, and I was doing my usual song and dance, asking people if they'd like Girl Scout cookies, saying that I was the Girl Scout, etc. When this man comes in, I greet him, as most Girl Scouts do, and think nothing of it. A bit later, he walks out and I ask him if he'd like to buy a box of Girl Scout cookies. He says F you to me and my mum, then walks out. We both kinda laugh, and I think that I now have another thing to add to the list of stuff said to me. A small bit later, the man walks back in and says this. I'm sorry for cursing at you, I thought you worked here. Someone let me know that you were a Girl Scout. Here. He gave me $5 and bought a box before leaving again. Have to say, quite funny. This one really confused me at first, but then I looked in the comments and I saw that that guy was actually caught stealing in the Safeway, so that's probably why he was so hostile towards them, thinking they were employees. Woman thinks I'm a waiter and demands that I take her order. A little bit of a backstory here. Me and my friend were going out for lunch and the people that were the waiters had a white shirt and always seemed to have jeans on. I was wearing a very similar get-up of a light grey shirt and some Calvin Klein jeans. Okay, on with the story. Today I was going to meet up with a friend at a restaurant that I had been to a couple of times and knew the people who run the place. Me and my friend had just sat down at the table when I realised I had to pee really bad. I asked him to order me the deluxe burger combo with a Coke if the waiter came before I came back. He said okay and I went to the bathroom. After I came out of the bathroom, I started walking toward the table I was seated at. On the way there, I hear a lady's voice go, ahem, and I just walked by thinking that she was talking to someone at a table. But I hear a scratching noise on the chairs of the ground and a couple seconds later, feel two fast taps on my shoulder. I turn around and this is where it all goes down. Alright, to make this easier, I'm going to call the rude lady Deborah and her husband Phil. Mister? I turn around. Yes? May I take my order? It's getting busy and I'm not sure where my waiter is. I'm not your waiter. But obviously you are a waiter. Look at your clothes. Yes, I do look like the other waiters, and I do understand why someone would be mistaken, but not this mistaken. Yes, I may look like one of the waiters, but I am not a waiter. I try to walk off, but this woman forcibly tugs on my shirt, pulling me back forcefully. I want you to take my order. I am getting hungry and I want my food. I already said I'm not your waiter. Now shove off. The rude lady is visibly angry and yet again tugs my shirt to pull me back, but she makes me tumble to the ground. I fall on her and she goes down with me. How dare you push me? I want to speak with your manager. Deborah, maybe you should calm down. He doesn't look exactly like the other waiters. Shut up, Phil. I'm trying to take our order. But shut up! At this time, people start to notice what's going on and are watching with intent, including my friend. Speaking of, where is that pad thing that all the waiters seem to have? I've already said that I'm not a waiter. She then looks intrudingly at my back pocket and sees the sketchbook that I always carry around with me. I'm an artist, so it's always good to have one, so that whenever an idea pops into my head, I can draw it on the spot. I also carry art materials with me at all times, but those are in my backpack which I left at the table. She then just goes and grabs the sketchbook out of my pocket and starts flipping through it. There it is, I'll just do it myself. Why aren't there other people's orders in here? And why are there drawings? She says it like it's a bad thing to have drawings in a sketchbook. And it also clearly says sketchbook on the front. Give it back. No, I'm going to report you to the manager for not taking orders and drawing in the notebook instead. I'll get you fired. She had a devilish grin on her face and starts walking towards the other waiter in the room at the time. But my friend stands up and walks over to the rude lady. Give him his sketchbook back, it's his, not yours. My friend knows how much that sketchbook means to me, and he is one of the only people I know who would do that kind of a thing. He takes it out of her hands and gives it to me. Here. Little did we know, another waiter in the room at the time had seen the whole thing and went to go get the manager. The manager came back to the room and starts talking to the rude lady. Me and my friend take the opportunity to get out of the restaurant while the rude lady is busy. A couple hours later, the manager contacted me. I know her from high school, we went to the same one, about the rude lady, and said that she is not welcome in the restaurant anymore. I just now realised I never did get that deluxe burger combo I wanted. So I worked at Walmart for like 4 months. Background, I was not a good employee. I got moved off registers because I apparently insulted a woman to whom I was trying to explain that her card was being declined while she was $5 short. I got moved to fabrics and crafts because I guess when you have an apparently unstable employee, the solution is to give her a big pair of fabric scissors. The thing is, all I learned was how to zone. and I didn't even have any equipment on me because my info wasn't in the system to check out any price checkers, walkie-talkies, etc. I was always told they were working on it. I also didn't know what anything was besides fabric and glitter. Every time I asked for more training, I was told that I had been trained and needed to get it together. So I ended up quitting in a fairly interesting fashion. Our tale. I'm at the store. Everyone who works there has a vest. I do not have a vest. I am wearing jeans and an Evanescence shirt from 2007, and this was before this store allowed their employees to wear whatever they wanted, so they were all in a limited selection of shirt types and black jeans. So, while I had been working there, I'd had a couple encounters with an older gentleman, in that he would ask me where something is, and I would honestly try and find it for him until he got impatient, valid, and asked someone else who did know, and then made sure to find me after he got his whatever, just so he can insult my intelligence. Fair, I guess. I'm in the grocery section. I'm looking for rice. Guys, I was just looking for rice. All I wanted was some rice, but there's so much rice. Hey, salsa. Interesting name for someone who's not me, I thought, as this shout floated through the air. A fun nickname perhaps. Saucy. Then someone taps me on my shoulder, interrupting one of the most important decisions of my life, and I realised the voice was familiar. I turn around and it's Grumpy himself, still trying to make that mustache work, so he gets points for confidence. Salsa, he says again. He stares. I gesture weakly behind me, not sure what we are now, what his mission is. This is rice? You're where the rice is. I know this is goddamn rice. I need to find your paste salsa. There's none on the shelf. I'm so sorry, I say, as a non-salsa connoisseur, trying to empathise. He already thinks I'm an idiot at this point, but now he really looks it. You work here, go restock the damn salsa. It's the only kind my wife will eat, he says. I don't work here anymore. I pray this sets me free. It doesn't, but he does pause. He's thinking. He's thinking about me, and about salsa. My brain is going back to rice. So, you can't help me? He finally asks. Dude, when have I ever been able to help you? I finally say. He nods. At last, he is satisfied. Good point, he says, and he looks past me and sees an actual employee, elbow deep in some Campbell's soup cans. Hey, salsa. Back to rice. I went with the jasmine. Now that is what I call a saucy story. Okay, I'll stop. I'm not a nurse, but yes, I'll get you a glass of water. Okay, due to my last story of a horrible experience with a woman who thought I worked somewhere, I thought I'd share the nicest story of someone thinking I worked where I clearly didn't. 8 years ago, I was in an accident where I nearly lost my leg. I was housebound for a while, needed several operations, had to get physiotherapy to relearn to walk properly, etc. But I won't go into details about this story, as it isn't about this. This is about a nice little old woman who was in the same ward as me when I was in hospital for one of my operations. I don't think her eyesight was very good, and you'll see why in a minute. I was using my walking frame to walk, as I was getting sick of being in bed, when she called out to me. Could you pour me a glass of water, sweetheart? She motioned to her jug of water and glass that were just out of reach. Of course it was a bit of a distance for me, but I didn't even consider I should call for the nurse, and just sort of shuffled over there with my walking frame, and told her of course. It wasn't until I reached her bed that she seemed to see me properly, and she freaked out saying she hadn't realised I was a patient. She thought I was a nurse and kept apologising. I laughed it off and told her not to worry about it, and poured her glass of water. She must have told her family what I did, because one visit they came over and thanked me for helping her, and gave me a card and a cupcake. Since someone asked, the cupcake was red velvet and came in a little box. There we go, it's about time we got some wholesome stories up in here. I don't work here, and I'm armed. I was confused for a Walmart employee like 4 years after I quit, in a store I never worked in, while wearing tan 5.11 tactical pants, my duty belt, and a thigh holster with my sidearm in it. A green polo and a ballistic vest with giant reflective letters that said security. I was there getting a sandwich because I didn't want gas station food, and Taco Bell was the only place near me I could eat while at work, and it was closed. So while driving between client properties, I stopped in to get food. Once I got back to the deli, some couple, yep, Karen and her husband, approached me and demanded I go check in the back for a bookshelf. I just looked at them and walked away. I get up front to buy my food, and there they are, screaming at a poor customer service manager who has no idea what's going on. Karen's husband then sees me, and like an idiot approaches me and got inside my personal space to start yelling at me. Remember what I said I was wearing? Yeah, a loaded gun. Kind of OC spray, pattern, but no taser. Not certified to use one, nor do I own one. The works. At this point, the dude drew the attention of the store's contracted security guard, poor unarmed security guard walks up to see what's going on. Before anyone can say anything else, I told her to stay back and call the police. Guy hears the word police and he turned and ran out of the store. Meanwhile, Karen is still yelling at the poor customer service manager. I pay for my food and call my boss to tell him that I'm going to be off all sites for a while and what just happened. Cops showed up about 2 minutes after the call because the store security told them some guy was screaming at an armed security guard and they were worried he might get himself shot. 2 weeks later, I'm on our problem site, one that has been robbed 4 times under our care. We weren't incompetent, they'd hit it when we were off duty. It's like 1 in the morning and I've parked the car in a line of used cars and cut the lights and engine to watch the spot of the property where the break-ins occurred. And who do I see looking at the cars? Karen and her husband. So first thing I do, call my boss at like 1 in the morning and tell him who I see. I was told to call the police and then get them off the lot, so I called the sheriff's office because they're literally 4 minutes down the road from where I was and the police are about 20. And when a deputy showed up, I slid over to that side of the lot and told her the whole story from 2 weeks prior. Then we made our approach. I initiated contact, told them I remember them and hoped they were fine from the other night, and then firmly told them they could not be on the lot outside of normal business hours and they had to leave. Karen flips her shit and starts screaming. Her husband, clearly very agitated, stomps towards me. At that point, my sidearm came out of the holster and I went into myself from my main job, which was a correctional officer. Went from nicest guy in the world to I'm about to make you bite the curb faster than you can blink, like Dark Helmet to Darth Vader. The deputy pops out to my right, taser out and laser bouncing around the guy's chest. Karen screamed and backed off. Once the deputy came out, I got quiet and let her give the commands. After all, I'm just a security guard. She's the actual law enforcement officer. Dude sees he's about to be tased and possibly shot, so he complied with her commands. Both of them went to jail that night for misdemeanor trespassing. And no, those 2 weren't the thieves from the thefts mentioned earlier. They were just trying to look at cars without a salesman harassing them. They're just assholes. Those guys were caught a month later when they stole a Porsche that had a GPS tracker in it. Wow guys, not only did Karen take the kids, she took the Porsche too. Hey everyone, that does it for this episode of r/I Don't Work Here Lady. I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you're new around here, do consider subscribing, and I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah.